We got a request from somebody on Reddit, who I should have looked up the name to give him a shout out, because like, if one person watches this and one person gives us a reco, we should really like honestly honor them.
We should have a shrine of them sitting right next to us.
I know. I don't know why I didn't look it up ahead of time.
Well, you're selfish and thoughtless.
And they suggested, Turtles in Time, which honestly is the pinnacle of beat 'em ups on the Super Nintendo, right? Like,
without a doubt.
This is it, right? You Final Fight, you got other games, but this is what everybody talks about as the best beat 'em up game.
It's also one of the most polished and good feeling. Like, it feels great.
Right. Well, let's stop talking about it.
Let's play it. Big decision here. What turtle do you identify with? Can I guess?
Yes.
I think you think you're a Leonardo.
Okay.
But I think you're more of a Raphael.
I think I'm a Raphael, and I am a Raphael.
Okay, Raphael.
You're a Michelangelo through and through. So, let's rock and roll here.
No surprise there. Wow, what is...
Oh, you better hit that option.
Wait, what is time trial?
I don't know, but we're not doing it, so why even bother?
I'm just curious.
Easy.
You sure you don't want to try normal?
With all these different...
Oh.
You get more continues.
Wait a minute.
This seems
Wait
strange.
a minute. What's going on here? Why would we get less continues on easy?
I don't know. That seems like it would be harder. Oh, go down to rest, which I think is always... Okay, go to 7.
Player dash. I don't know what that is.
Auto.
Back attack, sure.
Okay.
Oh my god. What does that even mean?
Animation, I think it's either you want like the comic
colors
colors or you want the like TV show colors.
Is it like something that we definitely wouldn't notice? I'm just gonna leave it on animation.
I'm sure what animation is what everybody remembers.
What the shit is going on here?
I don't know. It makes me want to do normal. But it's only one more continue.
What are we getting here?
So 3 continues each. They're not shared continues. Let's do 2 players. Let's rock and roll.
Cowabunga!
Let's do it.
I was very confused because your bar is orange, and I'm like, oh, he's Michelangelo.
Yeah. So this is... Oh my god, look at her.
Can we just take a second to
How about
appreciate
a round of applause?
What a babe.
They're watching her on the TV. Bring that statue back, you bloated beanbag.
Oh, dude, what a diss.
He's shredded though. He's
Shredded.
a bloated beanbag.
Shredded them. 3 a.m. I mean, talk about a rude awakening.
Yeah. So were you big on Turtles?
Was I like a fanatic? No. Did I have the figurines? Yes.
Like how, you know what I like about, look how fast you move. Look at
Yeah.
that. Boom.
And you know what? After playing like Sunset Riders and stuff, like where everything, you just didn't feel super responsive at times.
Yeah. Oh, and also by the way, we don't hit each other.
Oh, I like that.
Okay,
I miss linking up.
So, I was a fanatic.
You were a huge
I was
Turtles
a big
fan?
guy. I like had all of the figures.
So, are you a comic guy? Not specifically Turtles, but comics in general.
I had my moments.
Okay, I was never a comic guy. I'm wondering if that has something to do with the fanaticism?
No, I mean this. No, I was just into the show.
Okay.
Like I was in Turtle Mania. You know. You know how that happened back in the day, where like things would come out like Simpsons Mania.
Yeah.
And like Turtle Mania. Like I was into the Turtles.
Yeah.
Like I just thought they were so cool.
I was a G.I. Joe. Like that was me with G.I. Joe.
I like G.I. Joe too. I think, but Turtles was a little bit more, last a little longer.
Yeah. Okay.
It was my like 2nd to 5th grade era. I was into that shit.
Okay. So did you play this as a kid?
No, I didn't.
Oh, well, that seems like an oversight.
I think I've mentioned in the past, but like my video game purchases were like all over the map, and they were purely based on, what
Your friends were playing.
what advertisements I saw.
Well,
and maybe also what my parents afford.
But that's how
this might have been like a more expensive game.
But that's how we learned things. It's not like now when it's just so easy to get information about a game that's coming out, read a review, see it, learn about it. Well, that's how we learned about things.
I played this at my buddy's house at a sleepover, and we beat it that night. I remember thinking it was awesome.
Which friend?
Brady Berman.
Ah, nice.
It was
so
awesome.
I think
we used to have sleepovers, and we used to just try and beat full games. That was our thing.
I remember having a sleepover with a group of 4 people, and we tried to do Gauntlet Legends.
Well,
because
that's like a 20-hour game.
Right, it's insanely long.
Let you take that.
Pretty good.
But you just leave them there.
Well, I was doing it on purpose.
And also, I should have waited until one of us actually got more hurt.
Which is why I was leaving it there. Just so you know, I think we should have put off the auto dash, because what that is instead of double tapping to run, you just gotta hold for a little while and then he runs.
I like that.
Yeah, but it forces you to not do it for a little while, even if you want to do it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, you're right. I hear what you're saying. And there is a power move, there's a...
Right, you hit them together.
Right, yeah, I hear what you're saying.
No big deal. So you were a fanatic.
I wasn't doing it. But, funny that you say that, I did not have any of the Turtle games. So this is the 4th Turtle game. 5th Turtle game. This is the 5th Ninja Turtle game that came out on video game systems that I'm aware of. You had...
So the first was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Nintendo.
Right, which had...
Impossible.
Which had the classic difficulty. It had the, swimming stages and stuff like that.
It was impossible.
Then you had TMNT 2, the arcade game, which was a port of the Turtles arcade game. This also had an arcade.
Was that like a beat 'em up? Because I played...
That was a beat 'em up.
Okay. So that's the one that I have played.
And maybe maybe once we get the Nintendo, we'll play that. We'll give it a go. Then you had Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3, The Manhattan Project, which was awesome.
Did I see that somewhere?
Yes, I've got it in the box over there.
The fire hydrant water thing is so great.
Actually, not that uncommon of a game. I mean, not that common of a game. I got that box.
I've never heard of it, to be honest.
I got that pristine box copy at a garage sale for $5. It's more than 150.
What was your face like when you saw it?
It was one of those. This was before I had my complete knowledge, and so I was like, "Oh, it's Turtles, it's a pretty common game. What's the big deal?" Went home, checked value.
Hello.
Of course, I'm never going to sell it, so which is me.
Right.
How valuable it is.
Now, quick aside collecting question.
Yeah.
Let's say, so you have a pristine version that's worth $100, right? Let's say you come across another copy on a garage sale that's a little beat up, not bad. What would you do? Would you sell the pristine?
No, I sell the less.
Okay.
Okay. It's just how
No, that makes sense. You want to have the best things. You're not in this to make money. You're in this to collect. So the prime objective is to collect.
And the funny thing is, I don't really care that much about condition. I do care, but I'm not super anal about it. I'd rather have the game. If paying $50 for a super beat up version of a game, gets me the game versus paying $150 or whatever,
that makes sense.
Do it.
Oh shit, that takes away health. Dude, do not hit the 2 buttons together. It takes away 2 bars of health. I just went from
2 bars? That's way
2
too
bars.
many.
Yeah.
Way too many.
Do not hit the buttons together. Mistake.
So then the funny thing is then they came out with, they had 2 great games in a row after an underrated but extremely difficult first game. Then they came out with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Tournament Fighters. You remember that?
Oh my god, I do!
The fighting game, which was not good.
Awful!
And they came out on Genesis, it came out on SNES, and it came out on the original NES. Now the original NES version is super rare.
Right, but crap.
$100. Yeah, crap.
I totally forgot about that.
And then this was the 4th game in the series.
So now we have played this in the arcade a couple times because there are, some arcade places in New York, and this is clearly one of the premier games. Is the version the same?
It is mostly the same.
But maybe I'm remembering it different, but I also think I'm more familiar with the first 1.
Maybe. But one big difference between the arcade and this, and I understand the Super Nintendo has its limitations, but no 4-player simultaneous. So disappointing.
Well, but you couldn't do it on the Super Nintendo easily. Like, you had to have a multi-tap
Yeah,
and, like...
I've got the multi-tap.
But, like, who the hell has that? Who had that growing up? Not me.
Not many people.
Exactly.
It came with, like, Super Bomberman, and, like, that was not that popular of a series in the US.
Oh. There's another Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game that came out very recently. Platinum Games did one.
Well, there have been a number of more recent games, none of which I understand are particularly good.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm kind of a Platinum Games fanboy.
I don't really know. What else?
Vanquish.
Okay, yeah.
Vanquish. Metal Gear Rising.
I thought Vanquish was Sega.
Published by Sega, developed by
Okay,
Platinum Games. Bayonetta.
I like Bayonetta.
Yeah. They're really good at fighting games, which is why when they were doing this, I was excited. I don't know anything about it. We might want to check that out, because that would be a fun thing to play.
Once we get away from... So, thus far, we've been strictly 16-bit, which is going to come to an end pretty soon here.
Well, maybe for beat 'em up.
Well, not that we're going to run out of games, but more that we just want to branch out, I think.
Yeah. I mean, these guys aren't even doing anything. Just
Yeah.
fucking standing there.
Oh, by the way, also worth mentioning, they had Hyperstone Heist on the Genesis, which I was surprised you didn't have.
Never even heard of it.
Oh, yeah. So, Hyperstone Heist is...
I'm sorry I got that. That was a mistake.
Largely the same as this game. But...
Hyperstone Heist is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Hyperstone Heist?
Yes.
Okay. Never heard of it.
Largely the same game as this, but
Alien.
yeah.
Like, what?
But there's some differences. I think there's a couple less scenes than that.
So, like I said, you know, I grew up with Ninja Turtles just like you.
I did really poorly in that whole scene.
Yes, you've taken a lot of hits.
For a
but
bonus stage,
But what is the... You shouldn't lose life on a bonus stage.
I also killed 205 enemies, and you killed 95.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, just one of them.
Well, you're Raphael, you're very aggressive.
Right, that's true. Oh, that's fucking...
What is this?
This is the, this was the rat game?
Also, it's nice to be back in the sewer, you know? Right. Where we belong.
Well, you know what? The first beat 'em up where it actually makes sense.
Yeah, it does make sense.
To be in the sewer?
It'd almost be great if they didn't go in the sewer.
Right. That would be fitting.
So, like, can you just refresh my memory with the story behind Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? These were turtles, and there was ooze that turned them into superheroes.
Yeah, what's interesting about, you know, there's some inconsistencies in the Turtles world.
Okay.
But, so you've got two martial arts masters, one of which is Master Splitter, the other is Master Shredder. And something happens where they have a falling out, but like Master Splinter's like down on his luck, and he's in the sewer.
Is it kind of like an Anakin Skywalker thing, where like they were both good at one time?
I don't know. I think it's more like a...
Let's kick shell.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
Let's kick some shell.
Why not? Also, if they, like the Ninja Turtles shouldn't want to kick shell.
Right. They wouldn't want to kick anybody else's shell.
Right.
Don't they have any empathy for their shell friends? So you had... So Splinter's in the sewers, he's hanging out, then there's some ooze that comes down in the sewer, and he's got 4 pet turtles. And then there's ooze that comes into the...
What's he doing in the sewer?
He's like, you know, he's down on his luck, he's like hiding out, like...
Been there, man.
Right, I know. The ooze comes down, gets him and the turtles.
He gets hit by it?
He turns into a mutant rat.
So was he small?
No, he's a normal guy. So here's the...
Oh, he was a guy!
Yeah, here's the inconsistency between some of the mutations, right? So like...
Yeah, why is he a rat?
Right. So he is a human who turns into a rat.
Right.
And these turtles turn into humans, but there was no other humans there.
They don't turn into humans.
Well, they're
turtles.
They're humanoid turtles.
Okay, and you're saying he was a human, now he's a humanoid rat.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just weird.
Right.
Like Bebop and Rocksteady were humans that were like oozed together with a rhino and warthog. Right?
Warthog.
Yeah. Whereas like the turtles somehow like
Get that? I want to see what you do.
humanoids
Yeah.
without there being any humans.
Interesting. And, like I can understand if it was like a Mothra thing where like there was a rat there too in the ooze at the same time.
That's what it was with Splinter.
Oh, that's what happened.
Right.
Okay,
and
well, that
that's what
makes
it
sense
is
to
with
me.
Bebop and Rocksteady.
That makes sense to me.
But it's not what it is with the turtles. The turtles just like were
There was no
turtles.
human there.
Yeah.
They just got mutated.
Anyway, so then Master Splinter's, he named him after his 4 favorite Renaissance painters, even though Donatello was before the Renaissance.
I guess no fact check on that, huh?
Yeah. And Raphael was, you know, the painter was nowhere near the same time period as the other 3.
You've just been fuming over that?
Well, Raphael was
That's something I could see you being a stickler for.
Raphael was a portrait artist like 100 years earlier. I'm gonna get fact checked on this, but like,
Yeah, you goddamn right you are.
I think that's true. I always have to put the caveat. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
Okay, so now they get mutated.
I'm not like an art history major.
Okay. Yeah, you're a lawyer. They
Well,
get mutated, and then like, what's the end game?
well, I think then they're trained by Master Shredder to be superheroes.
Shredder.
I mean, Splinter.
Okay.
To be
Why?
superheroes. Because like use your powers for good. I don't know. These two revert back
this
to
is
just
cute.
the animals, so I guess maybe they got.
I mean, that poor turtle. Why don't we flip him over? He's on his back.
Although you know, maybe those two guys, which were later bad guy mutants.
Why don't you get that, man? Even though I have 6 lives.
I probably should have waited to use it again, though. So that's the general story.
I guess I'm just
and then-
confused as to like what's the
Shredder's motivation is that he like hates Splinter, and also he's a bad guy, and it's the turtles who are stopping his
from doing what?
like being generally balanced.
What do they do? Like what?
The Statue
Like
of
gems?
Liberty. I don't know. It's the Statue of Liberty in this game. They're a little bit more like Carmen Sandiego.
I see.
Like style crimes.
Yeah. it's a little more highbrow crime.
Yeah.
It was a great. Now here.
Well, the best part about it was like they also had all these other characters. So that whole story is one thing. What I loved about the Turtles was that they had all these other characters.
Like who?
Like the Rat King, right?
Yeah.
Like he was awesome. Like Casey Jones. Casey Jones, who was kind of like
Casey Jones is dope.
and he was like the Punisher character, right? Which
Right.
was like he was too harsh with the
Yeah, he was a
criminals,
bad boy,
so he
yeah.
was like a good guy, but also a bad guy. Shreds. Tonight I dined on
That's
turtle
good.
soup. Oh, so here you have to grab the bag
And throw at the screen. This is a cool mechanic.
Yeah, it's
I
awesome.
like this.
I mean, they weren't the pioneers of it. It's called Battletoads.
Yep. The Battletoads screen thing.
How do you grab?
You just gotta get close and then mash.
I'm not grabbing. Do you have to hit them in the stomach? first?
I'm stunning them and then kind of walking into them. I don't know if that's.
This guy is Shredder's really following me.
It's getting me
so
like nauseous. He's so moving so fast.
he's like all over my ass and just leaving you completely alone.
I'll do the whole work. That's fine. Woo! Yeah, you gotta stun them. And then they're like bent over like that, and that's when you run into them and hit.
Do I have to press the button?
Yeah, you gotta hit Y.
Okay. You've gotten 100% of the hits.
That's okay.
There
you go.
I'll get the one that matters. This works.
So like this was obviously was this a comic first, a show first, or what?
Comic first.
This was a comic first.
Comic first.
Now when we were playing,
He's banishing me to a time warp, which is like, alright, you've got a time warp powers, you probably should have been able to do this. Like,
Why not banish us before
the fight.
the fight? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I guess it didn't matter. Maybe he was figuring like if you just take his out, why not? Well, move
Where
7 scaling.
where does Stone Protectors fall into like the release of?
Way after, like
Way after.
You know,
Okay. Because I didn't know if it was like kind of like a Sopranos thing where like Sopranos took over HBO and Deadwood did not do good because it came after Sopranos.
No. I think it's more a matter of like you've got The Sopranos and then another competing mafia show comes out at the height of Sopranos
And like
fame,
no one gives a shit.
and nobody cares
Yeah.
because like they're Sopranos is already winding down and people are kind of
Right.
sick of it.
Right.
anyway.
But they're gonna stick it out because it's Sopranos.
Kind of.
Okay.
I will say, like, at least, the Ninja Turtles had the courtesy of dying in death, where, or they had reboots that made sense, whereas, like, The Simpsons, which is a similar era, is just continuing.
I have to say, I have never liked The Simpsons.
What?
I never thought it was funny.
Oh, you never liked The Simpsons? What?
I never thought it was funny.
You're an idiot.
No, I don't think it's good. It's not, maybe it's not my humor.
Here's what I have to say. Here's what I'm guessing. It's going to be. You are 4 years younger than I, right? The Simpsons came into big popularity at the end of '89,
I was too young.
which puts me at 7 and puts you at 3, right?
Yeah.
It had about 9.
I was a skater.
It had about 9 great years there, right? But that still puts me at 16 and you at 12, right? Like, so I think probably by the time you came into awareness of The Simpsons, like, you missed out on what was so great about it. Like the counterculture.
But it doesn't hold up.
The counterculture aspect of The Simpsons was what broke it into pop culture phenomenon.
Right, like, so The Simpsons was like the early South Park. It was
Definitely that.
right.
It was definitely that. South Park was a reaction to The Simpsons no longer being the counterculture
Right.
and just kind of being the current culture.
Okay.
Right? So
Yes.
South Park was the new counterculture. Unlike The Simpsons, even though I don't watch South Park anymore, like, they've amazingly kept it up. I mean, they are still
They're so
I mean, those guys are literally comedy geniuses.
it's unbelievable.
But The Simpsons always had its limits, right? Like, they were a PG-13.
Right.
And so,
and South Park.
once society became a PG-13 society, we don't want you playing yourself.
Okay, that makes more sense to me. I
Like,
probably missed.
I
missed.
actually watched something really recently on this, and I wish I could give credit to
On
whoever
what?
put it on. The Simpsons, like the rise and fall of The Simpsons, what it is today. And
This is ridiculous.
just why don't you back off him for a second?
Fuck. What the fuck? Okay.
When The Simpsons came out, like, the most popular culture at the time was, like, Family Ties and, like, Step by Step and The Cosby Show and, shows like that.
Right. To feel good.
Everything was, like, a perfectly, like, appropriately middle-class family where everything was always perfect. And The Simpsons came along, and it was like, no, even though it was a cartoon with
Homer's a drunk.
he's lazy, he's got all these faults, like all these characters, like the kid aren't straight A students,
Right, they're
like
bad.
And they deal with real issues.
Uh-huh.
Also, with some of the most brilliant freaking comic minds of the era, like Conan O'Brien,
Harry Shearer.
Yeah, and Matt Groening, and
Did
so-
Conan wrote for them?
yeah,
I didn't know
for
that.
like 8 seasons.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
And so,
You can't hit on this.
and honestly, if you go back in time, and I bet if you watched it,
We are.
right. If you watch some of this stuff now, you'd probably have a greater appreciation for some of it now than you did then.
Yeah, I could see that.
And then, but then, popular culture evolved to the point where it became more common to have these imperfect families, like
Yes.
Roseanne and shows like that. And
Yeah.
so now
Married with Children.
Married with Children. And now
Going
Simpsons
crossbones.
became just normal. And so
Right.
then the humor kind of devolved, and they never were willing to go to the next level that like Family Guy or
South Park.
went
Yeah.
to.
Right. That makes sense. Have you played The Stick of Truth?
Oh yeah. So all right. This on this board, by the way, look at that on the right. See that little like
Yeah, that means the thing comes up and slams you in the face. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, you know, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me 8,000 times.
Or what would Bush say? Fool me once,
Shame on you.
on me.
Fool me twice.
twice.
Never-
I won't get fooled
never
again.
He had some real amazing.
Remember back when we thought that
was
the stupid
bad?
president?
I'd do anything to have.
How times have changed.
I'd do anything to have that buffoon back.
I know. He got us into an endless war, but it doesn't matter. He left us off with like the greatest economic recession.
But we'd all take him back in a
We would
second.
all gladly take silly old Bush at this
That's how
moment.
bad it is, man.
Oh man. Oh well.
But dude, I was adamant about South Park being like a game of the year, and not just because I'm a South Park fan.
You weren't the only one. I think we're gonna be dealing with some cannonballs here. You remember these guys? This was like the Rock Army.
Oh yeah, I do remember these guys.
It was like General
it's like
Crag.
charging.
Or something
Yeah.
like that. No, I agree. South Park 62 is fantastic.
I mean, it's the only video game that I've ever played that I was laughing out loud playing.
Oh, so good.
And it was a very competent RPG.
Yeah, totally. And also, by the way, not too long.
It was the perfect length. It wasn't boring. It was just fan service on top of fan service.
I didn't mean to hit that.
Oh, you like? Yay!
Because I got 400 skill.
Like even the junk, you know, like typical RPG, you going through a drawer and there's a fork and a knife,
Yeah,
like in Skyrim.
everything
in there was
single
something
thing.
from an episode.
And was filled with humor. Top to bottom. I'm pumped for the next one.
I had it pre-ordered, but it keeps getting delayed.
They're also the masters of like, you know, how do I put it? They're the masters of like saying offensive things, but like everybody getting for the most part that it's humorous. Unless you're a Scientologist or Mormon.
Right.
In which case
you hate them.
You know,
Like-
you got a legitimate gripe.
Like, did you hear what they're doing for the?
Yeah, I don't know if I want to talk about it after my recent experience.
Okay, yeah. As long we're on, so we know. Well, like
Yeah.
that's an example.
As
of,
an
like,
example, borderline.
Yeah,
but,
borderline,
But,
but-
like their hearts are in the right place with
Right.
like, the joke, right? Like
Right.
the joke is on behalf of the oppressed, right?
Exactly. And like it's interesting.
Look at these guys. they got a bullwhip and a sword.
Were they in the back room like discussing their costume?
I mean, they've nailed the costume.
I know.
Themselves.
I know, but like they did this themselves, right?
I don't know.
They're not
Do they have a
actually
seamstress?
pirates.
I'm gonna let you handle some of this.
Okay. Yeah, you're a little low.
I'll come in when I feel like I gotta slip in a handkerchief.
Silver. What was that thing?
I don't know. I can't even remember.
Oh, you know what? For the best. Who was the first?
Nailed
I
it.
wonder what the first video game to do the blinking boss was. It's really stood the test of time.
Yeah. You know what else was a great show? Which is getting more credit in hindsight? Futurama.
Yeah,
Were you into that?
yeah. I like Futurama. I thought that was a much smarter. It was more my humor.
So I'm thinking you didn't really experience the
Very
primetime
much so, I
Simpsons.
wounded knee.
Like the Simpsons at its best, that humor is what was carried over into Futurama. Futurama, the jokes are so complex and hilarious.
Yeah,
and
they're
deep
great.
And like, it's everything, every step of the way.
Well, and like you said, it's kind of made a resurgence, right? Didn't they there was like a new series, like a new season or something recently?
I don't know.
I remember there being something new about it coming out. I don't know, but
Remember when Family Guy was canceled and then it came back?
I
It's like, why would that happen?
Like, South Park is notorious for just, like, brutalizing Seth MacFarlane.
Why?
They
don't like him?
They think it's not funny.
I think so.
They have a whole episode where they talk about how Family Guy gets their ideas, and it turns out that Family Guy gets their ideas by these two walruses that are in a tank with like an idea, like a noun.
Yeah.
Look
at this guy, by the way.
like we
You
did.
weren't fooling anyone.
Yeah, I don't know what their hate. I don't know if there was.
Also, by the way, like, Family Guy is notorious for, like, stealing every single Simpsons story.
I know. Yeah. That was another South Park, wasn't it?
No.
Simpsons did it. Yeah. Wait.
Maybe.
Or maybe that was a Family Guy. I don't know. Somebody's made fun of that. Yeah.
Maybe. It's a good show. I think Family Guy holds up the least out of
I agree.
like, classic Simpsons to this day holds up.
What would you consider classic
Just like-
Simpsons?
Like,
Like seasons 1?
1990, which is season 2, until like 1998, 1999. Once, I remember distinctly when I got to college, The Simpsons started getting horrible.
Yeah.
And it's still going. So like,
It's still on?
It's been like 24 years, or no, sorry, 17 years since I thought it was good.
It's on. It's still on. Making
Still
new episodes.
on.
Do you think that's there? Like, do you think the people who
I
are
think
even
they're-
working on it even want to be working on it?
Yeah. But I do think there are enough people who just keep watching it that it's worth paying whatever salary.
From like a creative aspect, they just gotta be so burned out, you know?
Yeah. Well, that's probably not the reason for that.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Ooh, who's this?
Croc. Oh goody, fresh turtles. Everyone's trying to eat us.
This guy-
Leatherhead? Oh, Leatherhead.
Leatherhead.
Yeah.
This guy had if I recall correctly, had a New Orleans accent. Like, I'm gonna eat no turtle.
Of course he did. He's
so
throwing
crazy.
lobsters at us.
Ah, those are crawfish.
Those crawdads?
Crawdads.
Crawdads?
Yeah, Leatherhead crawdads right here.
And knives. Like, do you think he's just reaching into his pocket and whatever's there he's throwing?
Yes.
Yup, crawdad.
Sometimes it's not, sometimes crawdad.
I think that's a lobster. That's too big to be a crawdad.
He is not wearing anything having to do with the Old West.
No, he looks like a Florida Gators mascot.
Like, that could be his normal outfit.
Where does Turtles in Time come from? Was this done as an episode? The concept?
I don't know. Maybe it was somebody was
Just
like,
the game?
Yeah. So we're like, oh, what if we send the turtles in the time?
What this man a promotion?
Right. Bury my shell at Wounded Knee.
Bury me with my money.
Bury me with my
You are
money.
doing awful.
What are you talking about?
You have no lives left.
I have 485 kills. You're 306.
What does it matter? You're gonna die.
It matters in that, like, if you actually had to take care of all these enemies, you'd probably be dying too.
Neon Knight Rider.
Look at that.
It's
I've got
not that
100
big of a difference.
I've got 130 more kills than you. Those aren't points.
What's your KD ratio?
Stop it.
Your KD ratio right now is not nearly as good as mine. This is F-Zero. And
Yeah,
this is awesome.
Sure is. Here, you get some kills. Easy kills on this one.
Were you an F-Zero fan? Loved it. Me.
Yeah. If it was two-player, we'd play it. It's,
That's a genre that I'm surprised it hasn't made an attempt to come back.
racing?
The fast, like the fast track, like
Yeah, well,
futuristic.
they need a new F-Zero.
Yeah.
I mean, but like, you know,
Fuck Nintendo.
part of my right, I know. Fuck Nintendo.
I mean,
You know what part of the problem is?
they're awful at this point.
Part of the problem with F-Zero though is it is hard. And,
It's impossible.
And F-Zero X and F-Zero GX were just like really hard.
More? I never played them.
Oh, you're literally only referring to F-Zero?
Yeah.
Yeah, there was F-Zero X on the Nintendo 64 and F-Zero GX on the GameCube. And
Wow.
both of them were incredibly hard.
Were they good? Were they?
Good?
Because I only played the original.
Unbelievably hard. Unbelievably hard.
Well, it's just so fast.
F-Zero, the original, has nothing on those games. Oh, a little boss in the background.
Yeah, I like it.
Honestly,
comes.
we should play F-Zero GX.
I
Or
would like to.
F-Zero
Yeah, I would
X,
like to.
just so you can experience
How difficult it is?
how ridiculously hard it is.
That's probably why.
Hard to even finish a race.
That's probably why they don't make them. Is that they're just so inaccessible to them to most people. It's just not worth it.
It's like a classic, like first person TV
Yeah.
situation.
Oh yeah, this guy's not that hard.
Although I said that.
You gonna switch it up? Oh, you can't? I
You
don't.
can.
Okay.
When was the last time I switched it up?
Never. Fucking never. Is F-Zero a Nintendo IP? It is, right?
Yes.
Why not? I don't know. I don't know that we need to get started with the Nintendo bashing of now, but what happened, man?
They're selling Switches, so...
But they're selling Switches with the same IP.
They're selling Switches because somehow they marketed it well enough to convince people that it's not going to be another Wii U, and it clearly is another Wii U. There has been nothing that indicates it's not just
There's
another
no
Wii U.
games. It's
There's
the
no
same.
games.
They came out with
And, like,
Zelda, and Zelda was great, but Zelda's also available
I played it on the
Wii
Wii
U.
U. And there are a lot of people who like swear by it, like, you know, like this Mario and Rabbids situation. It's like you cannot
Awful.
defend it.
What? Who thought that was a good idea? Makes no sense.
You know, we lost how much I was beating you by me having.
No, never see it. Never to be seen again.
Yeah.
Have you played a Switch? Because I have. And I played ARMS.
Yeah.
That game ARMS, and like it was cool, but like nothing about the Switch made it cool. And it was like a fine game, but like
Well, I also heard ARMS got old really quick.
yeah, I got bored of it in about 10 minutes.
It has no player base anymore. Like immediately.
I mean, I just
people
played
lost
somebody local, like it was just me and a friend. But like, why is Nintendo obsessed with making hardware innovation?
because they can't keep up with the.
Why
It is
don't
a
they
fair
license their,
criticism.
why don't they license their products though?
To other systems.
Yeah.
As opposed to having their own hardware.
Or bring in third-party people to do stuff
Well, nobody wants to develop third-party computers for the system
because they don't sell.
because they don't sell.
And they would have to like front the money.
You want to like. Sure, they can port it, right? Which they have done, but even those don't sell well enough probably to even think about. Like, how many people bought Assassin's Creed on Wii U?
Well, they're porting things that are just ancient.
Well, that's another thing, right? It's like a big deal that Skyrim is on.
Oh, Jesus, sorry. Right,
You know,
yeah.
Skyrim is on the
What is
Switch.
that? A
It's like, are you
6-year-old game? How long
Are
is
you kidding me? What? Way more than that.
more?
Well,
No, I think
way more
that's about right. Actually,
than 6. I mean,
I think it was 2000.
Destiny came out in 2014.
I think it was 2011.
Yeah, probably. In any event, like that was like a thing for them.
And it just came out in 2017.
It's not
Right?
even out yet. I think
It's not even out.
I think it's coming out in 2018.
It's like we're supposed to get excited about that.
I don't know. I'm not excited about it.
I feel like at this point, if Skyrim, if the type of game Skyrim was tickled your fancy, you've played Skyrim.
It's like get Horizon Zero Dawn, like you know,
Right.
right. And also you played Skyrim. You might want an HD remake or something to do that. I don't know who actually plays this stuff. What you did?
I did.
Well, you played the last of Us HD remake, but like, what else?
Shadows of the Colossus, which I'm gonna buy again.
Well, I'm gonna play that, but that's a full top to bottom. I think remake. I don't think it's just an HD.
They did an HD version, and now they're doing a full remake.
Exactly. So that I'm gonna play the whole new updated.
You never played that, right?
I never played even
so
the
good.
HD version. Was,
You're gonna love it, Dave.
I'm sure I am, but by the time I got to it, there is the reality that games sometimes just don't hold up in comparison to things that have come out since.
Well, I think that's why it's good for you to hold out for the full remake, because I think that might curb some of the. Oh, this doesn't really seem to be holding up.
I have very little patience at this point for bad character physics. You know what I mean?
Right.
And
because it's been figured out.
Yeah. And so that game didn't have the best character.
No, it didn't. But one thing that game I think got really well, and I think it was, in my opinion, the first game to actually do it, and a lot of games have kind of tried to do it, is the sense of scale.
Right.
Of big, intimidatingly big bosses. You know? And we've, how cool, everyone wants to see a giant, go fight a giant boss, but usually they're not that much bigger than your character. And it felt just like this insurmountable Colossus.
Right.
Great game. You're gonna love it. I can't wait. I can't wait for it to come back out. Crang. Have you checked out Sonic Mania at all?
I haven't. That was a suggestion for us to play that.
Who suggested that?
Damn.
Do you know about it?
Yeah. But I think he was more suggesting as you can get views with it because it's so popular. I'm that's a short-term fix for a long-term problem.
Yeah.
I don't think it's gonna get us enough views to that.
No, I don't know. I think it's a very cool concept that they did.
Me too. It's a modern version. It's a new version of an old game.
Well, but it's the randomization of levels. I think is really interesting.
Actually, it's not generated.
So what it is it selects from any of the Sonic games a level. It's almost like a Sonic roguelike, and it's selecting the level randomly. It's not like you're doing stage 1, Green Hill Zone or whatever the hell it's called. Pat has it, but it's $20, dude.
Yeah, no, it's worth getting.
Yeah.
It's like the NES remix series. Remember that? That was a cool thing.
Yeah. And PS3 was releasing all Golden Axe, X-Men Arcade for the first time is on PS3. I have it.
Really? Oh yeah, you mentioned
Yeah.
it. But it's on the PSN, right? It's not a.
Right, it's PSN. It's not physical. To my knowledge, unless they did a limited run. What is that?
Huh?
Okay.
So.
What's going on here?
Technodrome. The final
Why do they
showdown.
silhouette them?
I don't know. Just it'll be a shell shock when we actually see it.
Fucking show us. Oh, you're right. Capture the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah.
To what end? Why?
Just because.
Take it.
Yeah. Who cares? It's not really that big of a deal.
It's not that big of a deal at all. I mean,
It's not worth.
some
a
people will
single
lose jobs.
person's life.
No. Also, this guy's...
Oh, I'm a turtle.
That's so cute. Shredder is obsessed with turtle soup.
Yeah, he likes it.
Delicious. Okay, so is there a special mechanic
It seems to me
here?
that Krang was before Shredder.
Well,
Shredder was. I know that obviously,
he's the popular,
but
technically
he was basically
he's
the
the
bodyguard.
bodyguard of
Krang was the Emperor, and Shredder is Darth Vader.
Right. But
Darth Vader got all the.
correct me if I'm wrong, Emperor was killed first.
Well, yeah, but that's only because Darth Vader turned good
Right,
in the end.
right.
It's a different story. Luke Skywalker defeated Darth Vader before he defeated Krang.
The Emperor. Oh!
I gotta say, even though I'm on a continue here, I think it's fairly obvious we could have done this on normal.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
I mean,
I mean, we're on a continue, but we have plenty of continue.
Well, we have three. You have
I have
three
not
full
continued.
continues. I've got 2 more continues left,
They're not
And-
shared?
No, and on normal, we would have had 5. I mean 4.
Oh, is that it?
We need to concentrate harder and try normal.
I,
The normal is a good challenge for such hard-working red class. Are you disciplined enough to defeat it?
like,
I mean, at some point we have to start switching to
oh my
normal.
god,
so we
like,
can
what,
actually
that
see.
thing is stretched to shit,
Yeah, I know.
dude. Yeah, like, part of the issue is that we keep playing things on easy, and sometimes it's just not clear if you get the full experience. Like, you don't see
Right.
the levels.
Yeah,
I don't know.
we could look that up ahead of time.
We could look that up. We might be smart, too.
Yeah.
But, Raph.
Well, it did great work. By the time we finished the game, you got as many kills as I did by the time I had to continue.
Yeah, but, like, from a sheer ratio standpoint,
That's
I'm just
true.
a little more cautious, Dave.
That is true.
I'm just moving through life a little more cautious.
That is true.